Welcome back to the Oklahoma River Guide series from the Oklahoma 77 Project. Today I'm going to share with you a really peaceful float in southeast Oklahoma. This all takes place around Connerville, which is an unincorporated town with hardly anything in it. So when you come out here, just be prepared. There's no businesses or resources you're going to have access to within like a 30-minute to 45-minute drive. I came by way of Davis, Oklahoma, and it was about a 45-minute drive to an hour drive from Davis. We're going to look for US 377, and that takes you right into Connerville. But before you get into Connerville, there's this bridge over the Blue River, and that's the river we're going to be floating today. The access point at this bridge is great. There's a huge amount of parking, and getting into the river was a little steep, but it wasn't bad at all.
Pretty steep to get in, but it's doable.
From this section onto the next bridge, which is Harris Road, is kind of optional because you can get in at Harris Road. That's where, when I was first told about this trip, that's where I was told to get in at. But I will say the parking is much better on US 377. Harris Road does provide a little bit more space and ease of access of getting into the river. But you cannot park very hardly anywhere, and even unloading your boat can be tricky because you'll have to unload straight off Harris Road.
So if you pulled off on that road and just pulled your kayaks down, a little hike down the hill, it's a nice little spot to get ready to put in. It's not a really great spot to put in, but under the bridge there is.
So I recommend the 377 bridge. It worked out really well, and it was a nice little float. I had to get out about 3 times between bridges on that section of the float. There was a lot of portaging on this trip, but the portaging was not bad. No crazy climbing, not a ton of debris to go around. Most times, I don't think I ever once had to pick up my kayak. I just let it float in front of me and would walk through the shallow water. I've learned my lesson that any river that has a low water bridge is probably not going to have a ton of depth to it. So, and that's where this float does end, is at a low water bridge. And so I should have known that there's going to be quite a bit of portaging. For the whole float, which was about a 4.5 hour, maybe 5 hour float, I took my time. And again, I was by myself. It was a very peaceful and easygoing trip. I would definitely do it again. It's just a very remote location. It's kind of hard to get out to. And because of the low water bridge exit, there's not a lot of parking around there. You will likely need someone to pick you up out here. There is some parking nearby, but it's private residence, and so I wouldn't just assume it's okay to park there. I had somebody pick me up, and that's what I'd recommend everybody do. There was a fair amount of wildlife on this trip, small stuff, but also I got this opportunity to see some cattle crossing the river, and that was a pretty neat opportunity. And just kayaking right past a big old cow that's just sitting in the water. There were a few falls that were pretty nice, scenic moments. There was one spot that was very pretty, where the elevation dropped about 2 or 3 feet, within about probably 6 to 10 feet of space.
So this spot right here, this one was tricky, and you gotta portage it. You can't get off these things, you're gonna get stuck. And you don't wanna get stuck in a weird spot, so I recommend getting out early if you hear a loud noise with something that sounds like loud falls. That's what that is.
The water in the Blue River is very clear. It's very, very beautiful area, and I'm kind of interested to see what the rest of the Blue River is like. I think there's other float trips on the Blue River to take, but this one was pretty easy going, and I would recommend it for as long as you don't mind getting in and out of your boat at ground level. It was a very manageable float, and I would recommend water shoes because of the amount of slippery rocks and things you walking across. The water shoes really do help. There is a USGS water reading right around Connerville, so that should give you a good gauge of the flow of the river and the depth. And just like any river, I'd probably recommend a good amount of depth. There was a lot of shade on this river. It was very, very nice, cool place to hang out. But the more depth you have, the less portaging you're going to have to do. So maybe good to do this trip after a good rain. And that's really it. This trip was my first trip to actually try to film and document, and I did not have my stuff set up in super HD quality, so some of the video is not so great, but it's so far away, I'm probably not going to do it again anytime soon, so I thought I'd go ahead and create this video. Let me know if you've ever done another section of the Blue River, and where another place to get in and out would be. I really did enjoy this river, and it's a very pretty river, and I would love to do it again in a different section especially.